I am Professor Ramesh Babu, Department of Genetic Engineering, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. This video lecture is about research methodology, course code U18 PC GE601. Topic is methods in research data presentation. Tables and graphs are visual representations. They are used to organize information to show patterns and relationships. A graph shows this information by representing it as a shape. Researchers and scientists often use tables and graphs to report findings from their research. An example of a grouped bar graph is shown here. One useful approach to writing a research article is to list each of your key findings in a logical order. Then create figures and tables illustrating the data that you need to report. This information will provide a skeletal content and structure of your method section, which should match the order in which the skeletal information is provided. Figures can take many forms such as bar graphs, frequency histograms, scatter plots, drawings, maps. Figures are ideal for presenting images, data plots, and maps. Schematics, just like tables, all figures need to have a clear and concise legend caption to accompany them. Tables and figures in scientific papers are wonderful ways of presenting data. Effective data presentation in a research paper requires understanding your reader and elements that comprise your data. Tables have several elements including the legend, column, titles, and body. Tables are easily created using paragram such as Excel software. Tables and figures in scientific papers are wonderful ways of presenting your research findings or data. Effective data presentation in research papers requires understanding of your readers. That's very important. And elements that comprise a table. Tables have several elements, including the legend, column title, body. As with academic writing, it is also just as important to structure tables so that the readers can easily understand them. Here, an example of a table is given as an enzyme activity international unit. There are two columns. One is showing the pH. The other one is showing the enzyme activity index. It's represented in a table format. This is a biochemical study which shows the effect of pH on a enzyme activity. The data is represented at various pH in the form of a table. The titles gives the numbers meaning. Observation from an experiment are organized into a data table. The independent variable is always located on the left side of the data table, and the dependent variable is on the right side. Data trends are fairly easy to see in simple data tables. Trends are much harder to see in complicated data tables. Graphs are valuable because they make trends easier. Then what is chart? Chart, also called a graph, is a graphical representation of data in which the data is represented by symbols such as bars in a bar chart, lines in a line chart, or slices in a pie chart. You can see the bar chart. Main types of charts include bar chart, line chart, pie chart. Various data from the research studies or economics or any other engineering fields, it can be represented in the form of these charts. A typical examples are shown in these figures. An initial decision that has to be made about your data is whether it should be displayed in a table or a graph. Though there are no hard rules, there are general guidelines you can use to make this determination. Question to ask yourself. There are various ways when you are representing a data, there are various ways you can raise your questions. How, what, when, like that. Here, when you're representing your data in the form of a table or a graph, you can raise yourself a question like are the independent and dependent variables qualitative or quantitative? What is the number of data points to be shown? Is there more than one independent variable? Are you trying to represent the statistical distribution of the data? How important is it to be able to see individual values? How important is it to understand the overall trend? So most of these data are derived from the results source, and biostatistical tools or some other mathematical analysis tools can be used to represent the data in the form of a table or graph, and the variables needs to be considered here when you are representing your data. When both your independent and dependent variables are qualitative, there will be a suitable graph format to put it in. Symbols representing the different levels of the quality dependent variables can be substituted for words. However, in this example, a filled circle could be represent aerobic and a circle outline could represent anaerobic. So here the table it shows oxygen requirement for species of a Streptomyces, optimal growth condition. So two columns are represented, the species on the left side and the right side, aerobic, anaerobic, anaerobic, aerobic. So this is a simple format for representing your data in the form of a table. Here a typical graph is shown. This is a bar graph having a x-axis and a test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5 averages, test numbers. And then in y-axis we have a amount of catches. It's some simple example giving average test score for all subjects. Okay, so each graph can be represented with the various colors. The bars can represent various colors here. So presenting data or source accurately and effectively is necessary when you are making these kind of bar graphs. The journal guidelines vary greatly when it comes to the advice they provide about presenting data and referring to source. In some cases, journals have their own individual formats, how to represent a graph and tables. And in others, authors will simply be advised to format tables and figures in an appropriate manner and will be lucky to find 2 or 3 reference examples to follow. Tables and figures do seem to receive a fairly good coverage in the guidelines of most scholarly journals. However, and generally, you'll be able to find some indications of the referencing style required. So read anything and everything you can find in the guidelines about these elements of your paper. Pay careful attention to any models and take a close look at papers already published by the journal to see how references, tables, figures are successfully formatted. What you learn can be both followed and used to inspire your own design when constructing your references, tables, and figures. Tables and figures are the main source of representation of a data. Although the advice we can share in this section, which can be taken as a substitute for journal guidelines when it comes to the layout of tables and figures. It stems from a familiarity with the guidelines of many journals and the experience of encountering many tables and figures that present unfamiliar data. As with every other aspect of your paper or project presentation or data presentation, accuracy and precision are essential in the case of tables and figures. There is little space for explanation, so data must, for the most part, stand for their own, with only the format you shape around them to lend structure and meaning. This means that the format of your tables and figures It needs to be thought of very carefully. There needs to be enough space both to present and separate all the information, your tables and content in ways that facilitates your reader understand. Poorly represented data is difficult to interpret. And figures, as readers would prefer seeking the information you are providing and then edit, reshape until your tables and figures achieves just what they should. Some journals will insist the tables in a designed format. Here, a typical example given under the standard errors, standard bars can be added to the graph. So, graph information can be displayed in many ways. Three basic types of graphs, which I already described before. And here, what are those types is bar graph, line graph, and pie graph. You should also be familiar with a graph called a scatter plot. In bar graph, which convert information in a chart into separate bars or columns, some graphs list numbers along one edge and list places, dates, people, or things. Along another edge, always try to determine the relationship between the columns in a graph or chart. Line graphs convert data into points on a grid. These points are then connected to show a relationship among the items, dates, and times. For example, notice the slopes of the lines connecting the points. These lines show increases and decreases. The sharper the slope upward and the greater the increase. The sharper the slope downwards, the greater the decrease. Line graphs can show trends or changes the data over a period. Whether it is a bar graph or a line graph, if you have a supporting standard error values that can be added, there are several softwares available. How to add the error bars and draw the graph in a presentable manner, that's possible with the various software. Independent variables. The variables you can control and manipulate in some cases. In other cases, you may not be able to manipulate the independent variable. It may be fixed like color, kind, or time. Dependent variables, where what you measure in an experiment and what is affected during the experiment. It depends on the independent variable. Example, you are interested in how stress affects heart rate in humans. Your independent variables would be the stress, and the dependent variable would be the heart rate. You can directly manipulate stress levels in your human subjects and measure how these stress levels change heart rate. It's an example given for the dependent and independent variable. However, sometimes there is no obvious connection between the variables. In other situations, we are interested in how the many variables interact with each other. When you are setting up an experiment, it is necessary to have the variables in a duplicates, triplicates, sets like that. Your experiment design will involve various groups and subgroups, and how many participants in each group should be represented in the form of a numbers. Usually, it is represented like a n. N is equal to 10, 15, or 20 participants. So like that only in the graph, the n numbers are to be represented. Here, this graph choose the two variables. Okay, like an enzyme activity. Under various conditions, the groups and prepared in various conditions are represented. You can see a bar graph with the error values for two different variables. Okay, and enzyme activity is measured and shown in a typical bar graph with the error values. So there are various categories of variables can be represented in a graph. Categoric variables described by a word label, not a number. Example, different brands of towels. An example: ordered variables, categoric variables that can be put in order. Example: cool, warm, or hot. Discrete variable, described by whole numbers only. Example: 1, 2, 3 numbers. Continuous variables described by any number or part number. Example: 35 degree, like that. So these are the four types of variables to be remembered: categoric variable, ordered variable, discrete variable, and continuous variable. Two groups variable. The idea of grouped variables is best understood by examples, like what is shown in the graph here. One grouping variable might be a male or versus female. The other group variable is a control versus treated. Every data point you collect is categorized by both grouping variables, male versus female and control versus treated. A two-group variable tables graph is used to tabulate outcomes that are measurements such as weight or blood pressure, often with error bars. Analysis performed with a grouped data. It can be done with a two-way ANOVA. Repeated measure two-way ANOVA. It's a mixed model. Okay, that's the type of the analysis which can be made. So usually the raw data can be entered in a simple Excel format, and graphical representation can be made using this raw numerical data, and the legends for the X axis or Y axis with the title can be represented in an Excel format. Here, this graph shows a typical two-variable linear equation graph. Next is the frequency distribution. It is a particular observation is that the number of times the observation occurs in the data. The distribution of a variable is the pattern of frequencies of the observation. Frequency distribution are portrayed as frequency tables, histograms, polygons. It can show either the actual number of observations falling in each range or the percentage of observations. In the latter instance, the distribution is called a relatively frequency distribution. Frequency distribution tables can be used for both categorical and numerical variables. Continuous variables should only be used with the class intervals. In statistics, a graph dataset organized to show the frequency of occurrences of each possible outcome, a repeated event observed many times. How frequently the same event is observed. Simple examples are election returns and test score listed by percentile, and it can be graphed as a histogram or pie chart. For large data sets, the stepped graph of a histogram is suitable. The first step in drawing a frequency distribution is to construct a frequency table. A frequency table is a way of organizing the data by listing every possible score, including those not actually obtained in the sample, as a column of numbers, and the frequency of occurrence of each score as another. Computing the frequency of the score is simply a matter of counting the number of times that score appears in the set of data. It is necessary to include scores with zero frequency in order to draw the frequency polygon correctly. And it is also important to know, when you are discussing about the frequency table, what is the difference between the frequency table and frequency distribution table? The frequency table is said to be a tabular method where each part of the data is assigned to its corresponding frequency, whereas a frequency distribution is generally the graphical representation of the frequency table. How do you calculate frequency distribution? Divide the number of cores into intervals. That's one way of dividing and calculating the frequency distribution. Then count the number of results in each interval, that is each frequency. That's creating the frequency distribution table, number of cores, frequency. How are frequency distribution tables grouped? After creating a frequency distribution table, you might like to make a bar graph or a pie chart using the graph, that data graphs, bar, line, or pie chart. Here, an example of frequency distribution is shown for the enzyme analysis in a various geographical distribution and frequency of expression of the particular enzyme. So it is represented here. This table is represented in the 4 columns. Name of the gene and geographical distribution, number of participants, and the frequency. Similarly, the cancer expression genes are expressed as a frequency distribution in 3 columns. The frequency percentage in geographical location like Chennai and Bangalore. Here, the graphs represent the relationship between frequency distribution and the correlation between the values are represented in a different graph patterns. Next heading is stage of data analysis. Editing, coding, data entry, and data analysis are the various stages. Error checking and verification is very, very important in a data analysis. Okay. Here you can see editing is editable. The data is using a soft computing. You can do editing step. In data analysis, it is the process of systematically applying statistical or logical techniques to describe and illustrate, condense, and recap and evaluate data. Data analysis is an ongoing activity which not only answers your question but also gives you the direction for future data collection. Data analysis procedure help you to arrive at the data analysis. The use of such procedure put your research project in perspective and assist you in testing the hypothesis with which you have started your research. Hence, the use of data analysis protocol, you can convert data into information and knowledge and explore the relationship between variables. The literature survey which you carried out guides you through the various data analysis methods that have been used in similar studies. Depending upon your research paradigm and methodology and the type of data collection, this also assists you in data analysis. Hence, you are aware of the fact that in which particular procedure is relevant to your research project, you get the answers to. What kinds of data analysis tools are identified for similar research investigations, and what data analysis procedure should you use for your purpose? There are numerous ways under which data analysis procedures are broadly defined. The following diagrams, which is shown here, make the evident. There are, in fact, a number of software packages available that facilitate data analysis. These include statistical packages like SPSS, SAS, and Microsoft Excel. Similarly, tools like spreadsheet and word processing software are multi-purpose and very useful for data analysis, especially doing research in a large data volume. Nowadays, there's a lot of development in big data management, cloud computing. So the lot of data sets are available in various storage data bases. So as far as in the bioinformatics field is concerned, it is necessary to download all this data in a particular format and convert into a meaningful information. So where the bioinformatics softwares or tools are very useful in data analysis. Cycle of analysis, initial data collection. Okay, Identify positive and negative aspects of performance. Focused data collection. Identify area to develop. Plan the training program. Undertake training program. Monitor training program. Need to reevaluate the performance. So these are the various cycles of data analysis. So it is very necessary that you have to critically analyze and utilize the data in a presentable manner so that a reader can understand it easily. And you can draw a meaningful information from complex data sets. Here you see the flowchart of a data analysis procedure, which is broadly grouped into deductive and inductive. In inductive, it's a qualitative. You can see they're grouped into a hermeneutic, semiotic, narrative, and metaphor. Whereas in deductive, it is quantitative. It is grouped as univariate, multivariate. As I said before, the variables form the main part in data analysis. So what is data analysis useful? It is useful in drawing certain conclusions about the variables that are present in the research. The approach to analysis, however, depends on the research that is being carried out without using data analytics. It is difficult to determine the relationship between variables, which could lead to meaningful conclusion. What is data analysis in quantitative studies? Data analysis for quantitative studies, on the other hand, involves critical analysis and interpretation of figures and numbers and attempts to find rationale behind the emergence of main findings. In qualitative research, using interviews, focus groups experiments, data analysis is going to involve identifying common patterns within the responses and critically analyze them in order to achieve research aims and objectives. So in conclusion, it is a process of inspecting, cleansing, transforming, and modeling data with the goal of discovering useful information, informing conclusions, and supporting decision making. It has multiple facets and approaches encompassing diverse techniques under a variety of names and is used in different businesses, science, engineering, research, and social science domains. Here, few steps in data analysis method: individual interaction analysis, decision analysis, cultural analysis, identity analysis, institutional analysis, systems analysis, nonlinear analysis, longitudinal analysis. So each one, if you can look at each point, there are a lot of things to understand in each analysis type. So some tips for data presentation and data analysis. Basically, statistical tools or the mathematical tools are used in data analysis. So much attention is paid to numerical data in tables and images in figures that the words appearing in tables and figures sometimes suffer neglect. If the words used in tables and figures do not effectively clarify and categorize the information presented, the readers understand suffers as well. So when using words in a table or figure, it's good to keep these basic practices in mind. Use standard abbreviations for measures and define all observations beyond those for common measures. Use terms and abbreviations that match exactly those used for the same concepts, categories, and measures in the paper and in other tables and figures. As I explained before, when you are representing tables or figures, the format in which it has to be presented is very, very important. Whether it is a project proposal, paper presentation, or a conference abstract presentation, the format needs to be followed. It can vary from the time to time. So you have to meet the requirement of the format and represent the data in an understandable manner. Make sure that all words are visible and legible and not obscured or crowded by other elements of the table or figures. Do not allow a word to be split inappropriately onto two separate lines. Use a wider column instead. Use capitalization consistently throughout the tables and figures in a paper or a project proposal. If the table or figure was originally prepared in another language, translate all words into accurate English. If you are writing for an English speaking audience, all aspects of your paper, including your tables and figures, should be clearly legible to that audience. So these tips needs to be followed when you are preparing the table or graph. And as I said before, there are softwares available. Only thing is you need to give your input data, and you should get familiarized to make this data represented in a table or a graph in a easily understandable manner to an audience or to a reader. So I was able to cover in this lecture the details about the data presentation in the form of a table, graphs, and described about the variables, and also how to make these data represented in a understandable manner. With these words, I thank for being with us today in this lecture.